Hello, Juice Plus 90-day gamers. We are closing it out. We are in the last week of the 90-day game. We will be headed to Fun and Sun here next month in Phoenix. And, 90 days ago, we started and launched with a bang, and we had Paulo Teixeira on a Zoom call, and we're wrapping it up with the cleanup hitter, Shawn Hopkins, good mate of mine, ski buddy of mine. And I've had the great pleasure to get to know him over the decades, and he is going to wrap us up here from the company perspective on kind of the who, what, how, when, where, why from his point of view as now the Chief Operating Officer of the Juice Plus company. For those of you who don't know Shawn, I'll give them a little bit of an overview, Shawn, but I would really love for you to bring the resume to life. He started out in Canada. He came to America. He was Director of Sales for Asia, Director of Sales, International Sales, Director of Global Sales and Marketing Support, Director of Product Research and Market Intelligence. And now, since this past fall, he is the Chief Operating Officer. So, Shawn, for those that are new and don't know a lot about your story and why you're still around and what gets you excited, tell us the Shawn Hopkins Juice Plus story.
Well, thanks, Jeff. I just entered into my 25th year with the company last September, and on that day, I was actually out in Oregon spending time with another one of our ski buddies, Chris Cotton. Actually, got him on a water ski course for the first time in his life after he's taken us with you.
You hooked him in water skiing. Nice.
Some snow ski destinations. So that was a cool opportunity to give back to him. And I just remember feeling as we were talking about it that 25 years later, we're still talking about the same very things that were important to us and to our culture and how we connect the office with the field around the world and how we create together, the best possible journey for our customers and our representatives. And the same things were still important. I remember hearing very early on from one of my first bosses, Doug Arscott, who has been a C-level guy for us as well, that, don't ever forget that the best things you can learn from the field because they're out there, making it happen. And we're here to serve and support them and figure out how together we can make this work en masse. And, those same elements of the culture that we revered back then are still critical today. And that culture preservation, I think, has been huge. I just feel so fortunate to have lived through a lot of it. I joined only a few months after Juice Plus had started. And so I observed us trying to figure this out all over the world and try different things and really get better and better at how we position the product and eventually how we continue to make it better. I actually got traded from the Canadian team after about 4 years and was asked to come to the U.S. And a big part of that was to help drive global expansion. So I was with the company when we were only in 10 markets and helped us get to 24. And that was a pretty cool experience. I've been to 35 or so countries because of Juice Plus, and I've worked in every single country that we're in. That's been an awesome journey, and I've also done a bunch of different things. When I first moved to the U.S., it was global expansion, then I joined the product team, and then I went to Asia, and then I went over to Europe, kind of always in a global role. So it was the exposure to the Juice Plus family around the world was always a really insightful part of my journey and my career. And a couple of 3 years ago, coming on this August, I guess, I was asked to rejoin the product team and lead the product team. And, I had been there before, and how far we've taken it since then, with the leadership of John Blair in particular and Lisa Peppel, who's running our product innovation team. Today we have such an awesome command over what we internally refer to as from seed to service. So we look at what are we selecting for seeds all the way through to how we're servicing the most inspired customer and everything in between. And that command that our team has is impressive. We spend, Paulo says we don't own and we're not going to own things that go clank. So, we go out and find best-in-class partners that help us through our full spectrum of work, from selecting seeds and growing produce and harvesting it and converting it into a slurry and drying it and getting into a capsule and getting it into finished product and researching it, we oversee all that through very stringent requirements and specifications. And being part of that team in this last, more recent chapter of my career has been really cool to really help continue to drive that further. So it's been an amazing journey, Jeff. I don't think I could have asked for a better one. I feel like I've had exposure to so many different areas in the company, and that's helped support their expansion of my role to become one of our 2 COOs.
So seed to service, I think we've had a lot of questions from the 90-day gamers on how we as a global health food company procure produce, find produce, work with the farmers. I mean, we buy a lot of produce. Give people, some kind of behind the scenes, open up the kimono a little bit and give the new people an understanding of one, how much produce we buy and bring to life some of that, I think, barrier to entry maybe for other companies. We've been at it now for 25 years, and it's something that we in the field don't see a lot of, but I've heard that we're one of the largest buyers of kale in the world and maybe the second largest buyer of cranberries in the world behind Ocean Spray. Walk us through kind of that process and how we find the farmers and who they are and how we manage risk, and just bring to life some of that, because I know there's a lot of people that are curious about that.
Yeah, who we decide to work with from seed through to service is a big part of the quality and sustainability of the product. And so we have very clear but stringent specifications and requirements for all the different types of vendors. And when it comes to growers, we have our own specialized good agricultural practices. We have soil requirements, we have seed requirements, we have watering requirements, we have varietal specification, authentication, we have nutrient profile specifications. So before they harvest, they have to meet all of our standards, and eventually your reputation gets out. And I think you can see in our video content that not only can our growers grow what they grow, they actually want to. You hear them say it in their own words that it's fun for them to try to grow the best cranberry they can possibly grow. And that's one thing when you meet them and talk to them that really is kind of a great feedback loop to see, and not just the farmers, but everyone else along the way. And they're often at our conference, they're in the 3rd or 4th row, a little bit incognito. But you know what they tell us? They tell us that very rarely do they get to see their hard work manifest itself through to the consumer like they do when they come to see our conference in action. So it's really cool to see the inspirational fulfillment they get from being part of our company. And in terms of sustainability, we always have more than one grower for everything we grow, so we can deal with the uncertainties of growing, and natural disasters or droughts or whatever. So, and we have longstanding relationships with our growers that they like, because that's a stable and lasting business for them to have. And so we have end-to-end forecasting with these guys, so they know exactly. We have daily reports that we share that know exactly where we're headed in terms of how much we're going to need, and so we can make place bets into the future as to how much cranberry, how much any given plant we're going to grow and that we're going to need, and that helps us really make sure that when harvest time comes, we're getting as much as we need. And for sure, we are. We're one of the largest in a number of different categories, not just what we grow, but how we process, how we process right through to the customer. We're one of the largest credit card not present processing companies there is too. So it goes all the way down the line, and it's something we take very seriously because with such a narrow product line. For us, we can't afford to ever run out. And so we have a great supply chain and procurement team that is watching every day how things are going around the world and making sure that we have enough in the supply chain pipeline.
That's one of the things early on that I was attracted to was the company's narrow focus and staying in their lane. And as Jay Martin says, trying to be the best for the world. We pioneered produce concentrates, plant powders. And now the estimates are we're on track to cross a $1 billion in annual revenue and little itty bitty plant powders. Like, this ain't an experiment. We know what we're doing. Our company sits in the health food business, kind of give people a scope of we now are kind of above the radar. We're a known entity, we're a known name, and we're always trying to raise the standard in our industry. But if you've got any fun facts to share just on where we're kind of poised and positioned, for the next 25 years, we've laid this amazing foundation. And what's your vision for the future in where we sit today, and the context of competing in a global marketplace in the health food business?
Sure. We're in a great spot in many different ways. And, within our own business model of direct selling, we're in the top 25 in the world in terms of revenue and growing. I think we're in one of the best positions of any company in direct selling in terms of the customer base that we have, the solid and growing customer base. There are other huge companies that are being told by the FTC to go get themselves a customer base, and how that's all going to work for them.
Hey, I want to pause you there for just a second and kind of go down that rabbit hole, because that's a really important point for the new people. I think, the industry a lot of times it gets a bad rap for the reason of just kind of earning compensation to get people in the club, or the buy-in fees, and less customers and more sort of buy-in, join the club compensation. But we stand kind of, distinctly different from that approach in that we're very consumer and customer driven. So bring to life some of that challenge that, let's say, those in the network market, those companies in the network marketing industry face, and how we're quite a bit different.
Yeah, we're quite a bit different because we decided more than 20 years ago, it was in St. Louis in 1997, we decided, okay, guys, we need a customer program. We need a way to delineate between who's a pure customer and who's going to be an active, advocate and representative of the company. And so at that point, in my opinion, we really placed a much higher value on becoming a representative than many other companies in the world. There's many of them that say, what are you talking about? Everyone should be a rep, whether you're really just trying to get a discount or not. And I think what that's created is, one, it's created a massive customer base relative to our relatively smaller representative base compared to other companies, but our representative base is more intense. They're more motivated, they're more educated, they're more inspired, they're more skilled. And that creates an interesting opportunity to grow a team with people like that. And I think our best leaders go out and really design their own team. But they're looking for people like them, looking for like-minded, highly skilled people like them that can help really make this business model sing. So I think the customer focus was a huge move, and I think maintaining a narrow product line was also a huge move because it keeps it simple. You go see companies in direct selling on display, and they'll brag about they just introduced 56 new products, and we say, wow, how did you find anything else to talk about at your conference? So because we have a narrow product line, we're very serious about protecting it, from supply chain, but also from proving it's actually efficacious and actually works in the bloodstream. And one of the things that sets us apart and sets us on top is how much clinical research we've conducted. We're at 38 that are published. We have enough underway and enough kind of behind the scenes getting started to get us to 45 in the next few years. And this puts us in a place where we've never had more clinical research underway in any other part of the history of the company. So we already have a body of 38. We already have an impact score, which is a way to measure the total impact of the research, which is a known way to measure research in the clinical research community. And yet we have a bigger appetite to do more because we see this as a way to really differentiate ourselves from the competition. And I think one of the biggest things that we've done as a company to really set ourselves apart and set ourselves up for the next 25 years is one of the moves that Paulo made, and maybe he talked about it when you talked in January. We've gone to 24 countries around the world, and we decided we needed to make a concerted effort to make the journey as similar as possible in all those 24 countries, because people can watch it play by play, essentially, right? You can watch live events, and you can watch people share how they're approaching the market. And so we made a concerted effort a few years ago to really formalize a global team and a global strategic plan. And so we're doing a lot of work on our team. We have excellent outside help to become better people and better teammates and better leaders. we have a great strategic plan. And in that coming together, we created, in my opinion, an appetite to do more and to really prepare this company to be that much better in the next 25 years. And, we're getting more and more organized to execute that even more and more swiftly. We have things organized about what we call work streams. We have, the biggest one is customer journey. Duh. We're so customer centric. It has a lot of projects. We're really thinking about how we can leverage the representative's time to better and more richly guide a customer journey. And obviously technology has a big play in that. And so now that I've inherited our technology team, there's lots underway that in the IT side, the technology side that supports customer journey. We're doing the same thing with representatives. So what can we do to ensure people have the best, most fulfilling, successful journey possible? And we're reaching out to leaders around the world to try to understand best practices. We study them closely ourselves and our business intelligence team to really find out how we can best stoke and manage customer and representative journeys. We're actually doing the same in-house with our employees because we want our employees to be able to relate to what's going on in the field and try to learn that walk as best they can as well. And then technology is another big work stream that underpins all of those. And the other ones is actually what we're calling brands, products, and services, which I think Paulo's talked about on your call. It's actually, we don't have anything concrete yet that we have decided on, but we have a strong interest in having a service offering to our customers. So we're exploring a number of different possibilities there that can complement our existing product line. And whether we add a new product or a new service, in our minds, it has to be kind of a net positive to that. The cannibalization is just not a question. We want to really stay close to the foundation that got us here and just make it better and stronger. So that's where our heads are at. On the product side, we do so much more product renovation than product innovation. And that's a lot of what my team's focused on. And so over the course of this year, and you're going to be hearing soon some of the ideas we have around further product renovation. So just ways to make the product better. We've always thought that way, and there's actually announcements around that around our spring and fall conferences this year.
Well, we'll come to the Phoenix conference here in a little bit, but you mentioned innovation and renovation. And for those that are new again, I mean, we walk them through kind of the timeline from idea to launching of a product innovation that you were deeply involved with in our Omega product, but then also talk to us about the renovation it was maybe a 6, 7, 8, 9-year journey, a renovation of trying to get to an all veggie capsule. And some of the bumps and those two are, one was a renovation project and one was I guess the capsules, vegetarian capsules was actually an innovation. They were both innovations, but maybe bring to just quickly those two stories, because I think it'll kind of take people behind the scenes on how we go from an idea to an execution to launching.
Sure. Well, certainly when it comes to product innovation, it always takes longer than anyone hopes, but that time is critical because you got to get it right. And for it to be a net positive, you got to really, we say, put the fortune in the forethought. Often in the field, we say fortune's in the follow-up. We think fortune is in the forethought. You got to put all your right thinking on the front end. You got to find ingredients that meet your specifications and requirements and partners that are going to make them for you. And the product itself has to be synergistic with the existing products. We definitely think it has to have research potential for us to want to undertake launching it. One of the bigger things that a lot of people don't appreciate, since we've really started thinking global, we want to have the same products everywhere, right? We don't want to have multiple formulas or even different products in different markets. So with Omega Blend, getting that prepared for 24 countries was a ginormous undertaking.
Yeah. And
to give you, one crazy story there, our friends in Italy, the Italian regulatory bodies, did not like our idea of tomato seed oil. Can you imagine that? I mean, who does tomatoes better than the Italians? And so Actually, Italy is our #2 market in the world, and they still don't have Omega Blend because of largely tomato seed oil. They didn't like raspberry seed oil either. So, regulatory is a huge undertaking that you don't really connect to the point of sale. But there's a lot of diligence that goes on to make sure that you can launch the same product everywhere, and that creates a ton of time. And then once you have something that you think is viable from a regulatory standpoint, these are all natural ingredients that often come to us with their own certificates of analysis, where you have an understanding of how that ingredient behaves, but really have no idea how it's going to work in a finished product until you put them together. And one of the biggest issues there is stability, especially with the Omega products. Stability over time. Is it going to be effective at the end of shelf life? And so you have to test that, and that purely takes time. You have to test it in an ambient environment, and you have to, because of time, test it in an accelerated environment. There's an accepted way to do that, but there's so much that goes on. It's at least 2 years from idea to the start of a launch. And as everyone saw with Omega Blend, we much preferred, and we think it was smart, and we think the writing's on the wall now, to phase in the launch, to really work with the field and help them understand it, experience it, relay that experience, get to know the messaging. In this case, the messaging and the features of the product were very well known by both our reps and our customers around the world. And so Omega's done extremely well. We're about to top 200,000 customers that are consuming it or have consumed it. They're still consuming it. The retention levels are great. How it's combined with other products has been excellent. And what people thought they would experience, they say they're actually experiencing. So really good. We're really happy with how Omega has really fit in around the world.
Just real quick on the Veggie Capsule, can we just a quick highlight on that? That took a little bit of time. We launched once and didn't get it quite right, but I know that's a big deal for a lot of people, and just a real quick story there would be great.
Yeah. So talk about having great partners. The partner we have is a world leader in making capsules, and the level of perfection that they pursue was just remarkable. And it's the same company that makes the capsule that we use in Omega Blend as is used in Orchard, Garden, and Vineyard, right? And we actually had to go to the most recent one with Omega late in the game. It hadn't been proven, it hadn't been tested, and so they helped us figure out the plant. They call it Plant Cap, is their brand name. The 2-piece capsule for Omega Blend. It's actually the same material for Orchard, Garden, and Vineyard. But as we were working on Orchard, Garden, and Vineyard, we had huge challenges with what they call water activity. So the capsule and the contents of the capsule will seek an equilibrium, and one of the equilibriums it seeks is moisture level. And so if one is at a lower level of moisture than the other, it'll attempt to pull that moisture out of it. And so the capsule contents, the powders, are actually drier than the capsule. And so the powders were pulling moisture out of the capsule, making it brittle and to be susceptible to cracking, when the UPS guy, fires a 15-yard pass to your front door. So we had huge challenges there, but we actually worked with the manufacturer and worked with the powder people to try to find the right levels of moisture so that equilibrium adjustment wasn't as big, and also changed the polymers in the capsule so that they wouldn't let as much moisture leave the capsule and go into the powders. So it came down to 3 and 4 decimal points of measurement with this kind of work. It's impressive, really, what they put into it to figure it out, and it just made a huge difference. And that was always where we wanted to be. It's just that it took us time to get there, and we want to do it right. So we spent the time and had the right people, and now we have a great product.
So 2 questions. Number one, taking a step back, how did we get here? How did we go from when you started in the company at 0 in revenue and little itty bitty plant powders to sounds like we're going to cross 800 million this year, onto $1 billion over the next couple of years. You're going to wake up in 2020 and you're going to be COO of $1 billion plant powder company. How did we get there? What do you think are the big nuggets to to success? And do you see that those nuggets still in place today?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's what one of my favorite Australian NMDs calls multifactorial. There's a lot of different things that went into creating the success that we have. And the way I like to put it is, if you could be so bold as to pick a couple, in my mind, there's two big ones. First of all, the product just has to be outstanding. There's no other way to have gone on into our 25th year and done what we've done. And we decided we wanted to prove it, not just proclaim it. And we have. And we've proclaimed some amazing things as to what that product can do. And, you take that away, there's no way we would have accomplished what we have. And yet we have an appetite to continue to prove it, and at the same time continue to make it better, the product itself. So that is huge, and that is a commitment that we have, as strong a commitment we could ever have in our strategic plan. The other big one, in my opinion, is the business model that we've created with the field together. And we spent years, refining that. And I think we continue to refine it with understanding what's really resonating with customers and how customers' attitudes change over time and in different countries. And to me, it's so much more than taking this remarkable product that has outstanding results that have been proven. It's, how do we inspire people? How do we motivate them? How do we educate them? How do we bring them into community that has them feel like they're part of something way bigger? And that feeling of involvement and fulfillment is huge. And sorry, but you don't get that from the teenager working at GNC, The way that we take our product to the people is the most efficient way, in my opinion, possible if you really want to make an impact and pursue the mission. And I think we have a commitment to continue to make those both better over time. We have a great connection with the field to figure that out. So I have no doubt that 2018 will be another record year, Jeff, and that's on top of records in 17, 16, 15, and 14. Not only U.S. records, but global records. And we finished 17 with 20 countries having annual records. And it's just never at a time in the history of the company have we had more places doing as well as they are at the same time. And to me, a big part of that is how we've shared that together. Social media has been a big part. Strategic team's been a big part. And it's just one big Juice Plus family that's figuring this out. Wow.
You had some big shoes to fill in John Blair when you took over product development, and now as COO, before we hit the record button here, you were talking about, and I've heard you say this from the main stage, the famous management guru Peter Drucker said, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast," and the culture that this company has created over 25 years is unlike anything I've ever experienced. I know people, when they come in, they're like, where are all these shiny, happy people? And, what's going on here? And, some people say it's almost like a cleansing. They come in, and the culture of you've got this global health food company in you, Juice Plus, and then the field and this special relationship that we have. Talk to us about kind of your perspective on why that is so special, and how you, as the COO, plan to nurture and steward that out into the future for the new people coming in. It's something that you come to appreciate over time, but give people a little sense of why culture matters to you.
I think it's huge. It's something that we have a lot of intention with. We actually have a formal project around culture, and what that project is intended to do is intended to work together with our representatives around the world to figure out not just what we say our culture is or should be, what we can do to make it be felt. It's not just posters on the wall, it's the actions you take that make that culture just understood and felt. It's not what you proclaim, it's what you act out. And so that's one of the most important things we can do as a company, to be stewards of the most revered and important elements of the culture, and to make sure that they live on, make sure we preserve them and refine them. And no question, it's one of the most important things that we do here. And I don't know, I can't think of other words that better describe it than it's something you feel. It's just something you experience. It's not something you read or hear.
Yeah, that's great. I heard someone give a definition of culture as culture. What happens in the behavior happens when no one is looking.
Right.
And long ago, we had this. Someone had said, who's got your back? We got your back. You start out as new in this business, and you trying to figure out if the company's got your back, if your sponsor has your back, and then you're in this company long enough, and you realize you step in to some success. You realize it's your job out in the field to have the company's back and have your colleagues back, and I think that's one of the things to me that's most fulfilling is the people and the culture. And there's one thing, there's the financial success, but the fulfillment really comes from the people and the culture. So, one final question for you, Shawn. For those that are new, for those that have not ever been to a conference, or those that are kind of on the fence right now, we're in our 25th anniversary, 25th year celebration. Give us, I know you don't want to open up the kimono and share all your secrets, but paint a vision of why you want to be in Phoenix this April.
Well, any conference, and this one will be a special one for sure. There's no better way to really get a glimpse of what this is all about and really feel that, grasp that feeling, really capture the culture. Any big event, almost always, no matter what their subject matter is, people say it's about the people I connected with, and it's about the stories I heard, and it's about the look in their eye and the fire in their belly. And that's a big part of coming to conference. Yeah, there's a lot that's going to play across on main stage, but there's hundreds of things that go on off the main agenda, which is one of our best ones ever, in my opinion. We got some really cool marketing collateral we're working on. We really like the video content that's being curated. You've seen a lot already. There's more to come because it's in high demand. There's lots of great shared best practices from some of our best leaders that'll be sharing what they're doing to grow and drive their businesses. And it's just fun too. I mean, it's 8 to faint, it's as they say around here. I'm not sure if that translates in Colorado, everywhere across the country, but
no, we got it. If you didn't get it, rewind and listen to that again and figure it out. No, that's good. That's good. Well, I want to thank you, Shawn. I'm excited to see you in Fun in the Sun in April. I know you're going to be debuting some fun things for our 25th anniversary. And as I just tell you from the bottom of my heart, I think, between you and Paulo, I have the utmost confidence in our company for the next 10, 20, 25 years with you at the helm and you in a leadership role. And I know those of us out in the field, when you got promoted to the level of COO, we were all sort of rest easy in the field, say the future is in good hands with you. So I want to thank you for your stewardship for decades, and I'm excited to lock arms and grow with you in the future, as are all of us gamers. So gamers, thank you, Shawn. This will be our last corporate interview in this 90-day game. You have to come to Phoenix to see if we're going to do anything else with corporate in the summer for the 90-day game. Stay tuned there. But thank you, Shawn, for your time today, and we'll see you in Phoenix.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks, everybody. All right.